let's get into our off-season template. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you are going to do a 60 to 90 minute game-specific skill workout. This is going to be an up-tempo, more intense skill workout where you're doing the things that you actually do in real games for a lot of reps. You need to know the things that you actually do in real games. Of course, like I can't tell you what those things are, but practice those moves, those repetitions, get a lot of reps in, a lot of shots up on the shots that you actually take in games, a lot of reps in on the moves that you actually do during games, and do this for 60 to 90 minutes. The way that I personally like to set it up for a lot of players is that about 60 minutes, maybe even 45 minutes for certain players, you do all of your game situation reps. And then that last chunk of time for the final 20, 30 minutes or whatever the case may be, you play half court. So 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. There's a reason we don't play full court because that's a really big load on your body. So we do half court, which is a much gentler way to approach this. And you can do this 4 times a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, game-specific skill workouts, doing the things that you do in real games for a lot of reps with, if you can, and you have good enough competition there, a little bit of half court right at the very end, just to integrate that against real competition. On Wednesdays, you're going to do a lighter repetition-based workout. So this means stationary ball handling, stationary touch and feel drills around the hoop. These are the types of things that you might warm up with for your game-specific skill workout. So if you're doing like little touch drills to warm up for those main workouts in the week, you would do like a full 60-minute session of just these touch and feel drills. Lots of stationary shooting, not a lot of heavy body movement, but just getting lots and lots of reps up in a really gentle way. Okay, that's on Wednesday. So we have Monday through Friday, we're doing a workout every day on the court. And then in addition to that, what I recommend for most players is 2 upper body workouts per week and 1 lower body workout per week. The reason we do this, and we set it up in this way, not 2 upper and 2 lower, for most players, I reduce it to 1 lower per week. And I got best results myself this way as well, because we are doing so much heavy lower body loading on the court. You're moving around and doing basically like quickness drills. If you're actually quickness drills and plyometrics, when you're on the court doing game situation moves and reps, there's a lot of stopping and starting and changing pace and changing speeds and changing directions and then jumping up into the air. These are like really heavy on your lower body. And so 1 in the weight room lower body workout per week, 2 upper body workouts per week. There are so many ways to set this up, so I'm not going to go into this right now. Just make sure that you are gaining strength over a long period of time, that you're actually increasing the weight that you can lift over that period of time. So again, do your own research. As a practitioner of training, I'm here to give you a template. You got to fill in the blanks. So 2 upper, 1 lower. In addition to this, deep game work, 5 days per week at minimum. At minimum, this means your meditation practice, your reading, your contemplation. For players in the program, we have a journaling process that we do. Your study of these talks, things of this nature. You must be working on your mind, on the part of basketball that is played with the mind. Minimum 5 days per week. You can increase this to 7 if you want. You're not going to overtrain on this. So once again, 5 days per week is the minimum. One thing I forgot here, when we go back to our 4 days per week game-specific skill workouts, we have our 1 repetition lighter workout in the middle of the week on Wednesday, 1 day per week, typically on a Saturday, or it is better on a Saturday if you can take Sunday off before you start the next week. Saturday is the best day to do this on. You do just full court scrimmage day. So go to the court and play full court against the best competition you can find and just have fun, okay? Just play. Don't think about, getting extra workouts in around this time. Just go to the court and hoop, all right? Just hoop. This is going to help integrate all of the work that you're doing on your skill set during the week. You're going to integrate all of this into real game scenarios and game situations in a full court setting on Saturdays. And then finally, you'll take Sunday off. Now, in addition to the deep game work that I mentioned before, one thing that I recommend doing, and this is something that is really underrated actually. I recommend most players who are into this deep game work tend to be very serious about their game and very like perfectionistic, as I was myself. What I recommend that you do is take 2 days per week, completely unscheduled. And I recommend doing this in the on the weekends. It's easier to manage that way. On the weekends, do not schedule your days. Go about your day, wake up when you want to wake up when your body naturally wakes up. Do what you feel like doing within reason, of course. Like, don't go super unhealthy and lay on the couch all day long, but actually just allow that discipline muscle to relax a little bit. And on the Saturday, whenever the opportunity comes to play full court and people are out there hooping, like just go out and hoop again for fun. That's when you're actually going to get the best results. When you go there with this agenda, that's what the week is for. Go there and actually enjoy the game. Enjoy just playing. And throughout the rest of your weekend, optimize your days for enjoyment. What do I feel like doing? Do I want to like bike around the neighborhood with my friends? Do I want to play a little bit of NBA 2K? Do I want to take a nap? Do I want to eat some really good food? Do I want to watch a movie? Just allow yourself to enjoy and actually take pleasure in the enjoyment. This is a really underrated thing. And when I started doing this, it opened up so much space psychologically for me during my weeks. I could really sink into the discipline of the work that I know needed to be done. And then during the week, it was like that discipline muscle just relaxed and allowed me to take pleasure in life. And that actually allowed me to take pleasure in the work during the week. And so this is a really underrated, as I've been saying over and over here, this is an underrated technique, if you want to call it that, approach to taking 2 days unscheduled per week. In addition to that, I'm not going to go into detail on this concept because we have a full talk about this, but I recommend taking 2-week breaks every 3 to 6 months. And once again, I'm going to refer you over to, I think we titled that Complete Guide to the 2-Week Break or something along those lines. This is a full like hour-long talk that we have here at Deep Game. Make sure 2-week breaks every 3 to 6 months. And within the structure of your off season, this might look like a 2-week break right at the end of your season. So before you really dig into your off-season training, take the 2-week break. And then late summer, usually for most players, like the last 2 weeks in August, take another 2-week break and then go into your preseason training, which is going to look more or less like your off-season training. And that is it for off-season training. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say here. Those 2-week breaks and the two days per week unscheduled, again, do not underestimate the power of those things. I'm going to refer you over to the 2-week break talk. And I believe that's it for off-season training. The only alteration that we make for our preseason, when you go back to school, and usually for most players, this is like September, October. And again, for you, days of the week, months, like how the schedule plays itself out may be different for you. Just rearrange the days, but like keep the general template the same. Doesn't matter if you work out on a Monday or a Tuesday. Your body doesn't care. Just arrange it how it works for you, but keep the flow of it, the arrangement, so the order of the workouts, more or less the same if you can. The only change that we make to our preseason plan is that on Wednesdays, when you would normally do your repetition focus, like really light skill workout, we are going to do another full scrimmage day. This is going to put a little bit more load on your body. And so we're going to reduce our 4 workouts per week. We're going to reduce those from 60 to 90 minutes down to 45 to 60 minutes. And you're going to reduce the intensity a little bit as well. And make sure that at least twice a week you are playing full court. This is going to do a lot to prepare you for the season to come. And then, of course, at the end of those game-specific skill workouts, you can still be playing half court as well. So you're getting a lot of real playing across from an opponent game situation training here. That's what you're going to optimize for in the preseason. But our general template doesn't change all that much. It's not the time like right before the season starts to make radical changes to your approach. No, like continue on with what works. Just slide along the continuum a little bit from focusing just on your skill set to integrating that into game scenarios and get a little bit more actual playing experience during this time. Transitioning out of preseason into the season. This is where we adapt a lot. And adaptability is really the name of the game in season, because if you're really forcing yourself to set a strict template and schedule here, you are going to run yourself into the ground. There are going to be times during your season where there's a workout on the schedule and you just need to rest. You just need to do nothing. And if you are not adaptable and not listening to yourself, listening to your body, listening to your mind, then you are going to make a lot of mistakes and be really worn out by the time that the end of the season rolls around, or even the middle of the season, you're going to hit a wall. So adaptability is really the name of the game. Don't force anything here. And for that reason, I actually make our template a lot more fluid for players. This is a really nice and I don't want to say easy, but fairly effortless way to set up your in-season training is simply that when you have team practices and team games, and this is assuming you're on a fairly heavy team schedule and that you are getting playing time. So if you're not getting any playing time, you might want to alter this, but assuming you're playing a lot, like going back to my high school team, for example, we had 2 games during the week, every week, Tuesday, Thursday. We had team practices Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes even on game days. And then on the weekends, most often we were at tournaments. And so that's a really loaded schedule. To be able to fit in like your own individual skill work is very difficult. And what I recommend you do is actually 20 to 30 minutes of your own individual work every time you have team practice. You can also do this on game days if you like, but this is work that's not super intense. We're not loading up our body. We're just we're sharpening the skill set. If you can fit in that 20 to 30 minutes, which is quite easy, just go to practice and really dedicate 20 to 30 minutes to your own individual work before or after practice, or maybe it's like 20 minutes before, 20 minutes after, or 15 before, 15 after. Just sharpen it over and over and over. And those 30-minute sessions, for most players, if you've got 4 practices a week, that's 2 hours of your own individual training. And then maybe you do another 20 minutes before or after each game that week. So that's adding another hour or something like that. And so it adds up quite a bit. This is a really, I want to say this is coming to mind now. I know a lot of players are going to want to push that and stretch that a little bit longer. Resist that urge as much as you can. If you feel like your body can really take it and you've got a lot of space and a lot of energy, maybe stretch to 45 minutes or so after practice if you really want to get some real extra work in. But just because you have the money doesn't mean you need to spend it. Just because you feel really good and you feel like you've got energy doesn't mean you got to spend that energy right now. The hard basketball season is a long journey, and you want to keep some in the tank, like keep some money in the bank for later. So this is why we take it a little bit more easy and we say 20, 30 minutes around practice time every time you show up. That's going to amount to quite a bit, and doing the work that you know you need to do for your own individual game that you're not going to be working on during practice. For me personally, this was a lot of repetition shooting, maybe a little bit of ball handling, a little bit of touch work, but a lot of like repetition shooting because we didn't get enough of that, I felt, in our team practices. For you, that might be different. It might be working on your perimeter moves or your finishing touch or whatever the case may be. Again, you need to know what your game needs more than anybody else does. In addition to that, I recommend 2 full body weight room workouts per week that are not heavy. So you're not maxing out and trying to set records here. We're doing mostly maintenance work on our body. And I used to think to myself, it was wishful thinking, of course, but I used to think to myself like, oh yeah, I can make these big leaps in my muscle mass and in my strength during the season. Why not? I should just like lift weights the whole season. That was a disaster when I tried to do it, I promise you, and it didn't last long. I learned very quickly. You've got to just maintain. You really do have to maintain, and don't make your season the time that you're making big leaps in your weight room performance. So 2 full body workouts per week that are lighter. They're, 8 to 12 rep range, even up to the 15 rep range. You don't really want to go below 8 reps on heavy lifts. Maybe you can do a little bit of that. It's a case by case basis, honestly. You want to be doing a lot of prehabilitation work, a lot of foam rolling and stretching, things of that nature around your weight room workouts. You're not going to failure on every set. You're stopping 1 or 2 reps shy of failure, because that hitting that point of failure is very stressful on your nervous system. And once again, we're not trying to make these big leaps in progress. You might actually backtrack a little bit during your season. That's okay. 2 lighter full body workouts per week is good. Some weeks you're going to need 1, some weeks you're going to need none. So again, adaptability, listen to your body, what your nervous system needs, know your schedule. If you've got a huge tournament and a bunch of games that week, maybe you don't lift at all, right? Or maybe you just lift once. This is the way that you become a practitioner of your own training. You listen to your body, you know the situation that you're in, and you make adjustments on the fly. All right? Once again, deep game work is done 5 days per week or every day if you want to. This is not the time to slack on your deep game work. This is going to be fundamental during your season. It's going to keep you even keeled. And this is where a lot of like big performance jumps can take place, is because other people's minds go weak, they get distracted, their focus gets fractured, they get emotionally charged. Any of these different things can happen. They get caught up in attachment to results. These things tend to happen during the season most frequently. And so if you can stay consistent with your deep game work during the season, everybody else is going to fall apart while you keep getting better and better and better and more focused. And while everybody else falls apart, you are like this solid rock. That's when you leap ahead of other people. And so make sure 5 days per week at minimum, your meditation, your reading, all of the stuff that we talk about here, up to 7 days per week. You're not going to overtrain on that. Finally, 2-week break at Christmas time if you can. I know some teams, they go away for tournaments and you don't have a 2-week break available to you. That's okay. 2-week break during the holidays if you can. Again, following the structure that we outlined in that 2-week break talk. That is really going to be a savior for you during your season, I promise. It can kind of hit the reset button for you. And I strongly recommend doing that. Okay. So I think that wraps up our template. Hopefully you caught all that. I hope you had a notebook out and you were taking notes, because we went through a lot, off season to preseason to in season. And then after the season, I'll mention one more time, take a 2-week break right at the end of your season and then transition into your off season training. Hey, it's Taylor. I hope you enjoyed this clip. And if you'd like to watch the full length talk, we'll have the title and or link for you in the description so that you can check it out there. And as always, if you'd like to go even deeper, the best place to do that is in our free masterclass over at deepgame.com, which I believe will be the most powerful hour of basketball learning of your life. I hope we see you there.